All right, everyone. Huge movie fanatic Nate here, coming from, let's all say it together now. Ready? Lake Nate. Yes, I'm back. I had some comments from a Duckman Triple X. Very nice commenting on and inquiring whether I'm going to do more reviews at Lake Nate, and I'm like, I sure as shit am. Weather provided. I didn't say that, but that's what I basically meant. And there's another monster here on YouTube that eats cookies that likes the lake reviews as well, and appreciate that. And perhaps more of you who are quiet who like them also. But at any rate, I was intending, obviously, to do them for as long as the weather will permit and allow. So that's what I'm here to do. I'm coming at you with a review that my first review in the lake that's really not a lake movie, but I'm like, I spent a lot of time in that one location, like over the winter and the spring and stuff. It doesn't have to be a lake movie to do a review of a movie at a lake. So I'm coming at you with a movie that I just saw yesterday that I had been intending to see ever since it came out, which is Edge of Tomorrow. So it was raining. I was out on the lake, another lake yesterday, and clouds rolled in, and I was cussing and swearing, and I'm like, it started raining, and the weather got really questionable actually, and severe weather and just creepy twister greenage clouds and all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, you know what? I've been waiting, for a perfect opportunity. I don't really obviously like to go to movies when it's nice out, so perfect movie night, and being so pissed off with the corporate theater that I had been going to this year was Captain America and Winter Soldier, and then Godzilla. I'm like, forget this reserve seating shit. I'm going to go to another one. During the week, it's same price all day, so I went at 7 o'clock for $6.25. Barely anyone was there. It was cool. It was like, pick whatever damn seat you want. I'm like, hey, the good old days. So to make a long story short, I saw Edge of Tomorrow. Now, basically, I'm not 100% sure, but I think the last 3 Tom Cruise movies were, never mind, 4, Night and Day, Mission Impossible 4, that one that's got a kind of a dumb title, Jack Reacher, and Oblivion, and I think those are his last 4 movies. And I mean, he's on a streak as far as I'm concerned. And I commented, I can't remember what reviews it was, if it was Mission Impossible 4 that me and Matt did, or my Oblivion review that I think Matt was there for. I commented of me getting on in years myself. I commented that I kind of like Tom Cruise these days. He's a face from my generation, a face from my youth, someone that you can trust. You know how like you have a face, like, they keep faces you can trust on the news and all that shit for a long time for that very reason, because people just over time, you just get accustomed to them and like them, even if you didn't like them, which I didn't like Tom Cruise from the get-go. But just add some time onto that and you'll, you'll like him. So I was fairly confident that this would, he's on a streak as far as I'm concerned. I was fairly confident that this movie would probably be good, and I went into it, and I swear, man, I'm so sick of the because this was a corporate place too, but I'm so sick of the commercials, and I swear it was 6 or 7, probably 7, maybe even more trailers before the movie, and I couldn't even believe it. It was probably like 8 before the 7 o'clock movie started. So anyway, back to the review. So it started, and I gotta tell you, it started like Pacific Rim, where it was like this. I don't really like when movies start like this, where it's like just this news shit, because news, I don't watch TV, and particularly not news, and news is just propaganda bullshit to feed to the sheep and shit. So I don't like whenever you see a movie where there's a news bit and it's like CNN in the corner and shit. And just like Pacific Rim, there was actually, if I'm not mistaken, they actually showed a shot of a real quote-unquote politician, actor politician, whom I'm not going to name names because they don't need any more publicity than they're already going to fucking get. But that really makes me sick. Just like Pacific Rim, when there's an actual, real-life, quote-unquote, politician person that makes this brief little clip in like a news montage I hate that shit. Hate it. Keep like politics out of my movies. Hate it. So the movie started off on a bad note for me. I was like, and then it was like all of a sudden Tom Cruise appears, which I thought was weird. Usually he's got, I don't know, some kind of cool entrance or something like that. Maybe, maybe not. And all of a sudden he just appears within like a minute or two on these news things. And basically he's like, if I'm understanding correctly, his character is basically like this. I'm kind of confused about the beginning. Is basically like this spokesman for soldiers who's just like an actor who's never been a soldier himself. If I'm wrong, forgive me. I was kind of anxious when the movie started because of all the advertisements and trailers. I wasn't paying attention. Then there was like a family with kids in front of me, and I was just like. So I'm not sure if just like Oblivion, I'm not sure if I necessarily got all the little minute details that they laid out at the beginning. But what I took away from it is this Tom Cruise is, basically an actor or something. I don't know if he's been a real soldier or not, but whatever. Either way, he's on the news, like touting the soldiers and join the army or whatever. I don't know. And I don't really understand this beginning. I must have missed details or something. But, so... Oh, well, I guess I won't do all the details because it's a new movie and stuff. But maybe we'll just make this a spoiler-free review just so I don't have to do two of them. So the movie started off on a bad foot. I don't like the military, so I don't really like military movies. And this movie obviously is pretty much a military movie, And it started with him being either... this is a detail I guess I wasn't going to talk about. But anyway, it begins with, him arriving at this military base, and Bill Paxton, whom I said I really don't like, shows up, and it's like, oh, there's Bill Paxton. And I don't know what it is. I've never really liked Bill Paxton. And so this is one of those, I was like, oh man, Tom, what are you doing, man? When the movie started. So I'd say maybe the first 15 or 20 minutes were kind of like, oh, Tom, what's up? What's going on? Oh, man, the streak's over. And then, without spoiling anything, somewhere maybe around the 20, 25 minute mark or something like that, perhaps 17 minute mark, it was like, because they talked about at the beginning aliens who I don't think they even showed in news, so it's kind of like you just got sketchy information, and it's like, okay, they talk about we're against the aliens and they're defeating us and this and that, and it's like we haven't even seen. I figured they would, obviously explain it later, and so it's just kind of like you're just like, what are they even fighting? And then, so anyway, 20, 25 minutes in, it starts to improve. You start to get. Oh, by the way, at the very beginning, when he, this probably isn't really a spoiler. When he talks to the general, I thought I was like, okay, he's kind of fun. He's funny. He's got some funny humor there. It's actually legitimately, in my opinion, funny humor at the very beginning when he's talking to the general, and that was a funny scene. I liked that. But then once it went to the military, it's just like blah blah blah. I don't like scenes where all these grunts and all this tough ass idiots and all this shit. That's dumb to me. And so anyway, 20, 25 minutes in, it's improving. It's like, oh, and of course everyone pretty much knows, even who hasn't seen it, so this isn't a spoiler, that this is basically Groundhog's Day redo, remake of Groundhog's Day with Tom Cruise, And that aspect is kind of cool, and you're wondering how is this happening and stuff, and and of course you find out, and I have to tell you, this is like getting towards, I guess, the middle of the movie. I got to tell you that usually exposition in movies is just like, yeah. But for me, this movie had some of the most interesting exposition scenes, like the first main one. And like I say, if you see it and go, what? There's nothing big about that. That's fine. But for me, at the time, I was like, they kept us waiting for so long to fill us in. It was almost like I was dying to know by that time, and I was like, hanging on their every word when it worked. Something about it in this movie, the exposition, was like interesting, and I think it was written and executed in a way that was interesting. It was never boring, and the information was satisfying. It was like, oh, that's a kind of a cool idea, in a way, sort of. Usually exposition is like, we don't even need it, but okay, So this had a cool exposition scene, or maybe a couple of them, and the humor in this movie is, when you get into the middle, and once he starts, I can say without spoiling it, like once he gets together with, not in the way that's fun, but with Emily Blunt or whatever, and starts interacting with her and stuff. The humor is funny. Now, the one thing that I think is kind of creepy, and really creepy in a way, if you think about it, that I caught on to, obviously, that's even in the trailers, is a thing I think that's creepy about this movie, very dark and creepy, is the whole lighthearted aspect of reset, bam. I think that is extremely, on a serious note, extremely, I don't know, and they treat it like it's so funny, and it's just a weird kind of, it's unnerving on a deeper level, because obviously on the surface it's funny and all this and that, but on a deeper level, that's just like, okay, you broke your whatever, your pinky's broke, bam, we're gonna kill you. And it's just like, there was a lot of that, and to be honest, I was waiting for it, and I figured they weren't gonna do it, like if he was alone on the battlefield or something like that and he got injured, I was waiting for this, like, I'd be like, that would really be a bad message. Luckily, I think obviously probably by choice they didn't do that, but it was always like, okay, reset. And it's just like, that's a really creepy aspect on a serious note about this movie that I don't particularly like. I saw it in 2D, but you can be darn sure this is my favorite movie of the year so far. This is only my third movie, and it's obviously my favorite, and you can be darn sure I'm going to buy that. Did I say I saw it in 2D? I think so. You can be sure I'm going to buy the 3D Blu-ray. Almost like it enough to see it again, and maybe if it comes to the budget theater later on, I will. This is the first movie I've seen since I don't know what that I've actually had in the theater, that I've actually had the inkling and desire to see again. So long story short, for me it improved halfway through. It pretty much kept up the momentum, and it pretty much kept interesting. The only thing that I would say is like a little is the end, which of course, just like so many movies, you have a goal, and there's one thing I want to spoil, but I'm not going to. Let's just say that towards the end, the stakes, the last act, the last third of the movie, the stakes get ramped up higher than they were for the first 2/3 of the movie. And that was a very cool, without spoiling it, I can just say it that way, that was a very cool plot point. And obviously you knew there really wasn't any jeopardy. It's going to end all cherries and roses anyway. But it kind of worked, even on me, even though it's going to end fine. But let's go 3 stars for Edge of Tomorrow. Definitely one, probably the first movie of this year so far that I'm planning to buy when it comes out. Recommended. I think, like I say, man, this is, if I'm correct, this is his 5th movie, at least his 5th movie in a row for me. That's like, he's on a streak, Tom Cruise. That is, very entertaining and well done, and I'm proud of him. And, for being, Scientology, and not that it's any weirder than any other religion, I don't know how, for being all screwed up and all that stuff, he's like doing some of the best stuff that I see. I don't see a lot out there. So maybe I'll join No, I'm not going to join Scientology, but maybe there's something to that. I'm kidding. Another thing is, obviously, kind of just like with a more, souped up version of like last year's Elysium and stuff, movies, and even like RoboCop, they're doing all these suits, which as far as I know, the military is actually working on for real, because we have to constantly have an advanced way of fucking killing people. So I think this is basically something that's in the works for real. I can't imagine how they'd want, to spend all this money on each soldier to be in one of these, but that was kind of a cool sci-fi aspect. These suits was a kind of a cool little sci-fi extra gimmick and stuff like that. And the whole stuff at the beginning, I think I can say without spoiling it, like when he's a rookie, I'll just say he doesn't know how to operate it and all that stuff. And they do some cool stuff with the being reset and everything, and he's funny stuff and ironic stuff, and him learning everything and going through everything over and over. So solid for me, solid 3-star movie. Like I say, I'll definitely be picking up the 3D Blu-ray. And I think that pretty much does it before I wear out my welcome. This is Huge Movie Fanatic Nate reporting from Lake Nate, somewhere in Minnesota on a beautiful, I don't know what the hell it is, we'll just say mid-June day. And thank you very much for watching.